Hello and welcome to Tech Week in View, where each week we take the biggest stories of the week, chew them up, spit them out and tell you what we think. Stay tuned. So you finally upgraded your TV to a HD rating model that sports 1080p. Good for you. Unfortunately, I've got some really bad news. It's out of date and you're going to have to replace it again. Yes, I know you've only just bought that HD flat screen LCD, 40-inch, and it's pressed the neighbours. You've only just thrown out your big, fat, wide television. But yeah, the reason being is because today, or this week should I say, Sky has announced that they will be broadcasting in 3D from 2010. Woo! Now, if hopefully the editor has done well, that was in a funky 3D-esque scene, because that's what will appear. No, you won't need those funny red and green glasses. However, you will need a specific dedicated TV that allows you to watch 3D television. And no, you won't be able to see it with your naked eye. You'll have to start wearing sunglasses while watching TV too. Now, of course, the good news is, from Sky's point of view, is you won't have to upgrade your box. If you're already a Sky HD subscriber, chances are it will work. I've seen it work on a HD box back in Sky's head office in Isleworth in England back in December, and it looked pretty good then. It's an interesting concept. The idea is that you create a frame, a window, a depth of field. So your TV becomes the window. Things that stand in front are in front and therefore closer to you. Things that stand further back are out of focus and therefore further away. But what's interesting is that either way, it will start to change the TV landscape. It will start to make things, well, just start flying out at you. It's going to be interesting, it's going to be exciting. The problem is even if Sky start broadcasting tomorrow, let alone next year, you'll have no technology whatsoever to be able to watch it on. Unfortunately, it is one of those. Stay tuned. So if you watched last week's show, you would have heard me talking about Google Voice and how I've been trying it out on my iPhone and how it was, well, brilliant, and how it was going to end the world as far as phone operators are concerned. Unbeknownst to me, and I should have been a bit more clever about this, but there was a number of iPhone apps that allow me to put Google Voice to make it a lot easier. What's most interesting is that by the time I found out about these, or the only reason I found out about these, was because the Apple App Store had decided to, well, just remove them. Someone had obviously complained high up somewhere that, well, they weren't really happy about the ability to make 2 cents international calls or free calls to America when someone was going to lose cash. So what's happened? Well, Google submitted Google Voice this week, and guess what? It was rejected, saying that it somehow duplicated features already on the phone, probably because it could make phone calls. But what was interesting was that there are a number of other applications already out there. I can think of about 8 billion of them that do notes that duplicate features that the iPhone already does. So who complained? Well, there was a quick rumor flying around that AT&T had decided that, well, they didn't really like the idea of a Google Voice app. The other apps that were in the App Store got removed as well, by the way. But then AT&T came out and said, it wasn't me, it wasn't us that asked them to remove it, trying to play the let's just shift the blame to someone else card. Of course, it could be Apple. I mean, Apple, after all, are the people that have removed the app in the first place. But when one of the developers of one of the Google Voice apps actually started to complain and get a phone call from Apple, well, they wouldn't really tell him much. It was quite an interesting sort of story, and I think he sort of defied it as talking to, well, pretty much a monkey that can't answer anything. So what's happening? Well, at the moment it seems that Google Voice isn't coming to the iPhone as an app. Google will have to try and create a web app that shoehorns in somehow the features and functionality for iPhone users. But it does start to make you think, doesn't it? It's a closed platform, that's an open platform, that Apple really have the final say. Very different from Android, and if you think about how Android will possibly come along, which happens to be supplied by Google, and actually create a more open opportunity for developers to be able to develop stuff and know that it won't get rejected, Apple in about a year's time might have a real problem on their hands. So after 2 years of will they, won't they, Microsoft and Yahoo have finally tied the knot. No, they haven't merged. No, it's not a Yahoo Soft or a Micro Who. It's in fact a deal which lasts for 10 years, which is so complicated. It's supposedly over 100 odd pages just trying to outline what they're supposed to be doing. The crux of it is that Microsoft is concentrating on technology, i.e. is going to take over Yahoo search, and Yahoo, clearly realizing that they can't do search or have just given up interest in search, they're going to take over the ad department. So what it means really for Yahoo, or I believe it means, is that they've given up on the internet and are becoming a sales house. So they're going to try and monetize it as much as possible, perhaps to go up against the likes of Glam or any of the other big advertising sales house agencies in the US and around the world. Microsoft, having gained about 8% market share with Bing, will take over Yahoo search, which will give them about another 20%, which means that they should have, if I can do my maths, about 28% of the search market. That should give them a lot more reach and therefore a possible chance to take on Google, which has 65% market share. Yeah, how's that going to happen? The trouble is that all this is going to take time. It's going to be 2010 before it even starts rolling through. That's if it gets approved. And then they reckon that the full integration or transference is going to be 2011 at the earliest. Then, by that point, Google will have probably stretched out even further, maybe to 70, 80, 90%, leaving Microsoft with a search capability of, well, not much. Now, if they can somehow manage to get each other talking, which I doubt very much, effectively enough to get the arse into gear and turn it around, then it could give Google a good run for its money. I say good run for its money because Google still is the dominant party here. What's interesting is that throughout all of this, even though through the conference call that I listened into, Yahoo seemed to be in the driving seat of the deal and agreement, I can't see how within 5 years Yahoo will still be around. Yes, maybe as an ad sales house, but from an internet brand name, I very much doubt it. I think Microsoft are just going to swallow them up whole. So this week I went to saw Sony, who allowed me to play quite a few of the games that are coming out for the holiday, that's Christmas to you and I season. It's an interesting, everything from Uncharted 2 to Tekken 6, but the one that caught my eye the most was this game, a little very cute game called iPet. What is it? Well, it was a virtual pet that, using the webcam that comes with the PS3, that's that iToy thingy-bob, allows me to play, interact, look after, clean up after, blah, 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 a virtual pet that appears on my television screen. Of course, the interesting, intriguing thing about it is me in front of my living room. There is no pet, it's all on the screen. But however, it will still interact with my hands, interact with what I do. Furthermore, I can obviously change its color, I can customize it, put clothes on it, play with it, do lots of things with it, and even, well, just let it bounce up and down a trampoline, even though none of that paraphernalia is in my house. It's obviously where games are going. We've already seen Project Natal from Microsoft on the Xbox 360, which according to the THQ boss this week is due out in 2010, Christmas to be precise. And we've obviously seen the Nintendo Wii. I'm sure you've probably played one already. It shows that games are no longer just for controllers. They're moving to becoming us being the controller, which is in itself pretty interesting, but also highly confusing. I mean, when and how on earth are you going to counteract the fact that your mum is about to come through with a vacuum cleaner while you're in the middle of beating up the final boss on level 28? The mind boggles. Either way, the days of the blistering thumbs could soon be over. Well, that's it for this week's show. Hope you've enjoyed it. Why don't you stay tuned for more news, reviews, tips, tricks, opinions, and much more in the weeks to come. My name's Stuart Miles. This is Megawatt TV. Thanks for watching.